What's going on, YouTube? JT is Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Titans issue number 4, written by Tom Taylor, art by Nicola Scott. And this is continuing off the events of the previous issues, if you will. So, how is the Titans book so far? I mean, there was some kind of bad stuff earlier on, but right now it's just been kind of okay, if you will. There's a few things I actually liked about the issue. There is like a bit of like tension-filled stuff with that kind of horror angle. I think some people mentioned like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where there's this alien parasite thing that is kind of like, you know, it also kind of reminds me of, like, if you ever watched Dragon Ball GT, like the Baby Saga, with that little alien parasite thing that kind of like jumps from person to person. So there's that angle to it, which I kind of like. It's kind of like, it's also kind of making me think of like The Thing, although The Thing, they killed the host and they kind of replicate it, but this thing is just kind of infecting different people. So you got that on the sidelines. You have Beast Boy, who wants to do all he can to, like, not just save people, but also kind of be there for like the conservation efforts and kind of help rebuild things, if you will. Kind of doing more, and not in like a crazy kind of way at times, I suppose. He just kind of wants to help people. So, and sometimes, like, given all these different like countries are kind of lobbying for the same piece of land, if you will, that's going to cause some issues. And that's where Amanda Waller kind of comes into play with the issue. And she's like, wait a minute, this is going to be a PR disaster for them. So Amanda Waller, you can see, is kind of lurking in the shadows. God, I hate Amanda Waller. Like, what a bitch. Great villain, but just a complete sociopath. Like I hate Amanda Waller in the sense that you're supposed to dislike Amanda Waller. Like, she's like just so cold-hearted and just kind of cruel in that. But as the issue opens up, you have Beast Boy and Raven. There's no real super cringiness with them in that, so that is a plus right there. I know I've mentioned I'm not the biggest fan of these two together, but if you're going to make it happen, get rid of the cringe. And there's nothing outright super cringy in this stuff. It's just them kind of going, stopping some people who are getting abducted, and then Raven's kind of transporting people. So, and then that's kind of it. And then Gar goes back and he wants to have a talk with the different Titans about like planting trees and stuff. Wally's like, hey, why don't I go with you all? And they're like, no, you're going to stay here. You can stay with Linda and that. In 24 hours, you're supposed to die, and we're not going to let that all happen. But maybe it's because he's not going with them that's how he's going to supposedly die. So, yeah, there's that stuff going on. And then, of course, Amanda Waller's there, and you have this parasitic thing. Garth shows up right there, and he's like, hey, where's Beast Boy? And this thing just, like, leaps itself from his mouth into, like, Linda's and all that. And now Linda and Garth are, like, under the influence of this parasitic alien, and nobody else is kind of aware about it. So it adds a bit of tension that us, the audiences, are like, okay, what is going to go wrong here? So I like that aspect. So then they end up taking Wally to Ubuntu on Mars. There is a funny moment right here where Dick's like, yeah, we don't keep all our most dangerous weapons here. Are you insane? This is like a target for supervillains. So we're going to keep it in a very safe, off-the-books location. I'm like, okay, that's actually a smart idea, keeping it like all the way on Mars, away from everything else. But unfortunately, they didn't realize there's an alien parasite latched on to Linda there, which is going to like go backfire against them. So there's some cool stuff within the issue here. And like I said, the artwork for the most part is pretty good. Of course, Raven aside, because her hairstyle on that is genuinely just, what have they done to her? It doesn't even like remotely look like her. So, but like I said, in terms of the overall story, is it like super gripping and like exciting, like makes me want to jump out of my seat, like, wow, this is so cool? Nothing quite like that, but there are some neat ideas in here, and there's a couple of moments I kind of liked. And I didn't feel like the mega cringe like I did in some issues of Titans. And they're kind of like planting seeds and setting the stage for this upcoming Beast World thing, which I'm like, I don't really have much excitement for that event, because I'm what you'd call event fatigue with DC Comics at the moment, because it feels like every 5 minutes they have to throw out another big like line-wide event. I mean, we had Night Terrors, which was like 40 issues, and then we're in like Batman, Catwoman, the Gotham War right now, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. So Sean is a little bit fatigued when it comes to all these different events, but I mean, I'll probably end up like covering Beast World, even if or Beast Wars, or whatever you're going to call it, even if I don't really have much of an interest in it. Like I said, I'm just a little bit event fatigued. But in terms of like the issues of Titans so far, I thought this one was totally okay. Like, nothing downright awful, nothing like downright super amazing. Some of the story kind of like is paced a little bit slow. There are some questionable things in the sense that this is supposed to be the team that's replacing the Justice League, and they're kind of just doing like lowbrow, small stake stuff, but you feel the seeds kind of being planted for kind of the big storyline, if you will. Like I said, you have the parasitic organism, like, if you will, kind of latching on to the different, like, people in that, kind of like moving chess pieces to kind of take charge of things. And then, of course, you have the stuff with Amanda Waller off to the side. There's a lot of different stuff kind of going on in the background, and maybe it'll all come together to, like, create something really interesting. But I mean, it's got to kind of pick up the pace a little bit, get a little bit more exciting. I feel like that's been my issue with some of the storylines from Tom Taylor that aren't really Elseworld stuff, where he doesn't have as much room. He's going to kind of like keep the story moving along and like get it a little bit exciting. Because with something like Nightwing, for example, I mean, I've mentioned this a few times, like, there's some fun stuff in there, but it feels like nothing ever gets done. Here, it's kind of like we're kind of slowly getting to that point. And again, we're only a few issues into this run, so I'm going to give it a little bit more time, but I'm hoping it starts to pick up the pace and get a little bit more exciting soon enough. So yep, that's all I really have to say about this particular issue. Again, not bad, all things considered, so it's, you know, okay, I suppose. Post your comments down below what you thought of it. Like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all the other fun stuff. Next up, in terms of DC comic book videos, will be Batman Superman World's Finest, the latest issue of that. And then I'll be all caught up in time for a new comic book day tomorrow, which is also on Halloween, aka Sean's favorite holiday. So that's all I have to say, everyone. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.